Hello there guys, welcome to another my live video. I do believe that the time is up now for Ole Gunnar Solsjaker at Manchester United. I just don't think he's good enough to be a manager. Like I have mentioned on recent videos. He doesn't have any intuition on how to manage a big football club like Manchester United. Despite the fact that he does know the traditions of the football club. There's still certain Manchester United fans saying maybe we should still give him more time at the football club. We should still at least give him a couple more windows to see who else he can recommend in to the football club, because definitely no further more investment is needed in the squad, and there's still deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed. I think obviously if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still to be here next year, I think Man United have assured he will be given money to spend next year. I do presume that he will be given a substantial amount of money to spend, but definitely our recruitment has got to improve in the next couple of windows, because analysing our recruitment has been very, very poor for several years. Obviously, that blame stems from the board, because like I did put into the equation, I think the board have been a liability for several years, reflecting on their poor recruitment and their poor selection of managers. And I actually believe that this current board do need to leave, and we do need to recommend a new board in. But the board didn't actually back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough during the course of the summer, as they did actually assure. I still believe Ed Woodward has got the same perception. I still think 100% he's backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think also he needs to be he needs to leave the football club, because there's also the vast majority of Man United fans also wanting him out, as well as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But yeah, I think, next year, we've got to get probably at least a couple of midfielders in, because we are missing creative impetus in that midfield. We need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. We also need at least one striker. We need someone that can come in that can, assure us goals, and someone who can be more effective in the box, because, I do believe we look very, very exposed in that attacking line following the dismissal of Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez. But we definitely do need a striker, because we have been struggling to score goals this season. I think we've only scored 13 goals this season in 11 Premier League games, and we know that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. Also this season, we have we have struggled to create a lot of chances, and this is one of the main reasons why we haven't been scoring enough goals. In that aspect, it does replicate last season, because last season we didn't score enough goals. I think in a lot of games last season, we did create a lot of chances, but we just wasn't ruthless enough in front of goal. But for my own perception, I think we need at least 5 to 6 more signings next year if we are to be back to being a competitively level football club. But I do presume now anyway, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is back under intense pressure, reflecting on our 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth yesterday. Obviously, that was our fourth defeat of the Premier League season. The second time that Bournemouth have beaten us in the league, because obviously Bournemouth did beat us back in 2015 by 2-1. That was their first current season in the Premier League, and Bournemouth have been in the Premier League now for quite some time. But yeah, I thought, the performance was abysmal, from Man United. Maybe there was some, periods of the game, where Man United did quite well, in certain parts, we did, well with the possession. I thought we started the game really, really well, but again, we struggled to create chances, didn't really, register many shots on target. And, Solskjaer did admit, we could have done better defensively, with the Joshua King goal. But I think the blame stems from Wan-Bissaka, because when that cross got brought in, Wan-Bissaka was around 2 or 3 yards off him. And I think this is the first time this season that I've criticised Wan-Bissaka, because for the majority of this season so far, he has done really, really well. And I do believe he's been one of our most consistent signings as Wan-Bissaka. But, giving my overarching view on it all, I think, the 3 players that were recommended in during the summer have all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. I thought Solskjaer tactically got it wrong against Bournemouth. He did with revert back to the 4-2-3-1 formation. And, we have been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation on a regular basis this season, but we do know that formation, hasn't been working. So Bournemouth, did end our 3-match winning run because, we, regained form, was in a good run of form, and, the momentum, was building, there seems to be more confidence in the players. But, we did really, really well in that 4-game period because, we got a draw against Liverpool, we drew 1-1, we're the only team in the Premier League this season to, get any points there from Liverpool. Then obviously we beat Partizan Belgrade 1-0 in the Europa League. Wasn't the best of performances from Man United, but still got the win. Then obviously, we went and won at Norwich. I've got to be honest, that's the best performance of the season was the game against Norwich. And I thought, the performance against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup was really, really good. But the performance against Bournemouth was totally a comparison to all them games. But now, we are currently back to square one. Solsjaker, he's actually described the game as a step back for Man United. He also admitted that he did get his team selection wrong. This is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had admitted, and I think he's also recently come out and said we could due to our lack of quality, he says Man United, could, struggle to, get a Champions League qualification. I have actually, now fully disregarded the top four. Leicester obviously, won today at Palace by 2-0. Tottenham did draw 1-1 with Everton, but, Chelsea also won 2-1 at Watford yesterday. So now as it stands, we are 10 points behind top four. And I did say, I mentioned it at the start of this season, and, I also mentioned it towards the back end last season that our expectations this season will be able to finish in that top four and maybe win some silverware and that. We want to get back into that top four so we can get back into the Champions League. But we're definitely not going to get the top four this season. And I did say anyway, our aspirations will be that top four in the next couple of seasons. But, despite the 3 signings that we recommended in during the summer, despite the 3 signings that we recommended in during the summer, I still knew this season that Manchester United, wouldn't win the league. I knew we wouldn't mount any kind of title challenge up because, analysing our squad at the moment, it isn't good enough, to win the league. But we do know that, a massive rebuild is needed at the football club. Don't forget, take into account that the vast majority of this team isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. Obviously the vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's, because obviously Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players to the football club, and now obviously Solskjaer is inheriting the vast majority of them. But Solskjaer is making plans for next year. Solskjaer did say as well he's looking to recommend 2 forwards in January, which is obviously really, really good. But we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 3 decades. The last time we had as bad a start to a season as this was back in 1989 or 1990, and we've only registered 13 points from a possible 33, and that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. But like I do keep mentioning, reflecting on the money that's been spent at the football club, reflecting on the size and the potential of this club, we should be much more of a commanding position, than winning now. But like I did into the equation, I thought, I saw a variety of changes at Manchester United, prior to the game yesterday against Bournemouth. I saw a variety of changes in that 4-game period. Tactically, we look very, very good, because I did actually say, we look much better with 3 at the back. And, for the majority of this season, anyway, I have been criticising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics, because, for the vast majority of this season, Manchester United have been tactically inept. But, we look tactically good in that 4-game period. The personnel was also there, but yeah, and I also obviously the away form improved, because we won 3 away games on the trot. Also certain players stepped up to the plate. Marcus Rashford has actually regained form recently, so I will credit him in that aspect. I did even say when Rashford was playing really, really bad, I still said he was a long-term solution for Manchester United. But yeah, he has regained form recently. I think Rashford now has scored 52 goals for Manchester United, which is very, very good. And I think now, he is 22 years of age. But I've actually, been impressed with him recently. Martial's done well, since he's recovered from injury. He's already scored 2 goals, since he come back from injury. At least, he does add more inspiration in that attacking third in the pitch. Don't forget, it got confirmed at the start of this season that Anthony Martial has been given that number 9 shirt because he does seem to be more effective in that central position. Martial is the same as Rashford basically because they can both play in the same positions. They've both obviously now, I think, scored the same amount of goals at the football club. Martial now is into his 5th season as a Manchester United player. And he's only 23 years of age. He still hasn't, quite emulated that level as yet. But, I think, he will succeed at Manchester United. But, like I did take into account anyway, we have got a lot of young players in the squad, that are developing and trying to improve at Manchester United. Like I did say, I think, quite a few of the young upcoming players will become a fruition at the football club. I also credit Ole Gunnar Solsjaker in the aspects that, he has got a lot of trust with in his young upcoming players. So I can definitely assure that, Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, Tuanzebe, I think, that trio will become a success at Manchester United. I've also been very, very impressed with Brandon Williams recently. I think he's done really, really well. And I think a lot of Manchester United fans now do believe he's a much better solution than Luke Shaw. Even despite that, Luke Shaw is our first choice left back. Despite that, he's our first choice left back. But obviously, Luke Shaw's been out of injury and he's still out of injury now. He hasn't played since the 2-1 home defeat to Crystal Palace earlier on in the season. But, I did say the likes of Brandon Williams and that, maybe perhaps James Garner, anywhere will earn more first team promotions. But Brandon Williams is only 19. It was good that obviously, he recently got a new contract. My perception on James Garner is that, well, actually, I haven't really got a perception on him yet because I haven't really seen him play that much. He did really, really well in the game against Partizan Belgrade. We won the game, by 1-0. Obviously, he made his full debut for the football club in that particular game. But maybe he will become a success at the football club and that. I've also been very, very impressed with McTominay. McTominay has done really, really well this season. He has been a first team regular. And I've been very, very impressed with him. And, my element of concern about him is I don't know if he is, the long-term solution for Man United. I can definitely assure he's not a world-class midfielder because Man United basically do need a world-class midfielder. But, McTominay's still very, very young. So, yeah. Give him more time at the football club. I've also got the same, perception of Fred of what I've got of McTominay. I don't know if Fred is a long-term solution for Manchester United. I will agree on the aspect, that Man United definitely overpaid for Fred. We paid just under £50 million to him last summer from Shakhtar Donetsk. Yes, we did. So yeah, just give him more time at the football club. I know he hasn't performed to the standards as we all expect from the player. He hasn't replicated at Man United, what he did with Shakhtar Donetsk. Because he was an exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk. But we've just got to give him more time at the football club. Don't forget, Solskjaer confirmed that, Fred will take Paul Pogba's position for a while. Because obviously Solskjaer confirmed not too long ago, he confirmed the extent of Paul Pogba's ankle injury. And he's confirmed that Paul Pogba, will be out for him at least another month. So he said he's expected back until December. He did say there may be a slight chance that Paul Pogba may, be back for the game against Sheffield United after the international break. He said there was a slight chance, so it's probably very, very unlikely. But he is obviously now a big miss in that midfield. It's Pogba. But, Solskjaer, give his overarching view, on, Fred, Pereira, McTominay. He did actually say McTominay's comparison to Fred and Pereira because obviously he's a different, sort of player. And, with Pereira, I thought he had a really, really bad game against Bournemouth. But I think prior to that, in the couple of games before the Bournemouth game, I thought he really stepped up to the plate. Did Andres Pereira has played in that playmaker's role for the vast majority of this season. I think he's played 8 league games this season for Man United. But Solskjaer's confirmed that Fred and Pereira and that are two imperative players for Manchester United. But they have been reliable recently. But I think in regards to being long-term solutions, I don't think they would be reliable. I think that maybe end up becoming a liability. So this is why we have got to address that midfield without a shadow of a doubt. But Solskjaer's tried quite a few different elements in that. He's tried putting players in other positions. Obviously, he's tried different formations and that, and so he's tried quite a few different elements. We've obviously had a lot of injuries this season, so obviously because of that, Solskjaer anywhere has had to make alterations in the squad. We've still got injuries now, like I said. Eric Bay is out until the end of the year. And I think, reflecting on the amount of injuries that Eric Bay has sustained, I think, that's really affected his Manchester United career. We have got quite a few injury-prone players. Bay's one of them. Luke Shaw's one of them. I think you could say Rojo's one of them. But Luke Shaw and Rojo, are not to the same extent as Eric Bay's injuries, So I'll just add that into the equation. Bay has got great potential. He's a good centre-back, but I think Man United, he could be one of the players that Man United could consider moving on next year or at some point in the future, Eric Bay. And I think anyway, he's initially lost his place in the team. He's now into his 4th season as a Manchester United player. Fosu Mensah's still out with injury, but I think he's now back in training. As you know, Luke Shaw is back in training. I think Solskjaer did confirm basically that Shaw, Matic and Tuanzebe, they'll all be back after the international break. Obviously, Tuanzebe has been out over a hip injury. Matic has been out over a minor problem. Disregarding his injury, though, Matic probably wouldn't have been playing anywhere because Matic has initially lost his place in the team. I think mainly, due to his inconsistency. He's one of the players I think, Man United needs to consider getting rid of at some point next year because he isn't getting any younger. He is now 31 years of age and he's too slow, and he makes that midfield look totally imbalanced, and he's quite measly predictable. And again, I will agree, Manchester United did overpay for him. Matic is now into his 3rd season as a Manchester United player. But yeah, we have definitely got to get rid of him. But we're known in recent years anyway for overpaying for players. Also, a lot of money's been invested into the football club in the last 6 or 7 years. But the players we overpaid for, like I said, we overpaid for Fred, we overpaid for Matic. We definitely overpaid for Harry Maguire, but Maguire has done really, really well. You can say he's probably, addressed our defensive deficiencies. I think him and Lindelof have mainly blended in together in that back line, for this season. Well, so far this season, that is. Do you think Harry Maguire and Lindelof, could emulate into like Vidic and Ferdinand? Because obviously, before we recommended Harry Maguire in, I think, the last time we had a world-class centre half was obviously, when we had Vidic and Ferdinand, which was obviously, back under the Alex Ferguson era. But yeah, £80 million, is the most expensive defender in the world, is Harry Maguire. He's actually our 2nd most expensive signing at the football club. You can say that we overpaid for Paul Pogba, because we paid £89 million for him. He's our most expensive signing. We've also got players on substantial wages at the football club. You've got Rashford at just the age of 22 on nearly 300 grand a week or just under. You've got Martial on 200 grand a week. You've got obviously Pogba on 290 grand a week. You've got Lingard on just over 100 grand a week. You've got Maguire on 200 odd grand a week. You've got De Gea on 375 grand a week. David De Gea is the highest paid goalkeeper in the world and the highest paid at the football club. So yeah. So we'll also, take that into account. Yep. Obviously, the Diego Dalot's out with injury. He's actually sustained quite a few injuries. This season. Is Diego Dalot. He's obviously one of our backup options at that right back position again. I would give Diego Dalot more time at the football club. He's only been here since last summer. I think we paid around 19 or 20 million pounds for him from Porto. But we have actually got quite a few fullbacks in the team. Few fullbacks in the team and all that. But like I said to you guys, I don't think Solsjaker is the right man to elevate Manchester United forward. I still think he believes, he insists he's the right manager, to elevate Manchester United forward and that. And, in a way, I do feel sorry for Solskjaer because I think the club have put him in a very, very difficult position. I also can say that, we've made a lot of mistakes in the last, 6 or 7 years. One of the mistakes, of course, was, Man United giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. Because I do believe, that we give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job too soon. We should have waited at some point. We should have waited until the end of last season, or we should have waited at some point until this season, to decide or not, whether to give him the job. Solskjaer's obviously, overall now been at Manchester United around 11 months, so he has been at the football club just under a year. Basically, he's been permanent boss for around 8 months, and obviously for the vast majority of this 8-month period, everything has just seemed to have all gone wrong. Prior to that, 4-game period, where we did really, really well. Obviously what I've seen in this 8-month period is obviously a comparison to what I saw when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was the interim manager, because, it seemed to all go well, when he was the interim manager, obviously. The results were good, the performances were good. He got the best out of his group of players and that he exceeded expectations and stuff. He won his first 8 games, was it? Or his first 9. He won 14 out of 19 in total, did Solskjaer. But, it's just seemed to have all gone wrong since he got the job. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is on a 3-year contract with the football club. I also do presume that, if Manchester United do decide to sack him, he probably, will cost the club a substantial amount of money. Probably not to, the extent of, of how much we paid Jose Mourinho to get rid of him. So I think we'll pay less to get rid of Solskjaer, than what we did with Jose Mourinho. But yeah, so for me, he's just not the right man for Man United. Like I mentioned to you, some aspects of me credit him. Like I said, he recommended 3 good players to the squad during the summer. We showed a lot of tactical flexibility in that 4-game period where we did well. So I do also credit Solskjaer for that. He also got rid of a lot of the deadwood during the course the summer. We got rid of a lot of players during the summer, so a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. But I still believe these are more problematic players at the football club that do need to be moved on next year. And I think we need to consider moving probably 4 or 5 more players on there next year. But my perception is, the coaching staff aren't good enough now. The manager isn't good enough. There's still players here that are not good enough for Manchester United. So we need to see quite a lot of fundamental changes at the football club. But some Man United fans, still maybe believe that, us getting rid of Solskjaer, now especially, or just before Christmas, wouldn't solve a lot of problems at Manchester United. Because obviously, with our inconsistency, not all the blame, stems from Solskjaer. Like I've mentioned to you guys on a regular basis on my recent videos, everyone, has to take responsibility. I think also some of the players are to blame because quite a few of them, do need a reality check. I think definitely Jesse Lingard's one of them because Jesse Lingard has been really, really poor this season. And I said, reflecting on his status at the football club, he should be putting much more better performances out. Should Jesse Lingard. Don't get me wrong, I still think he's the long-term solution for Manchester United. But yeah, it's just basically we're not good enough in that. It's not good enough. We're now 10th or we're 11th in the league. I can give you a couple of positives that we are in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. We got drawn against Colchester. We have done pretty good in the Europa League at the moment. We're unbeaten so far. We've won 2 games out of 3 in the Europa League. We've registered 7 points for a possible 9. And our actual next game in the Europa League is Partizan Belgrade at home. And I think after that in the league it's then Brighton at home, Then it's the international break. Then we do go up against Sheffield United. But I honestly, I do believe it. I do believe, it won't be long, before Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does get sacked from the football club. Obviously, if Solskjaer is to be sacked, he will be the fourth permanent manager to be sacked by Manchester United. Because obviously we've already sacked 3 managers already since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, we sacked David Moyes after 10 months. He had really a short tenure with the football club. He's actually, the manager that's had the shortest tenure with Man United. David Moyes. Actually since the Alex Ferguson era anywhere. And then, that was one mistake Ferguson made, but it was the only mistake he made, was recommended David Moyes into the job. But, apart from that, he didn't make any other mistake. I think, like I said to you on one of my videos before, we've only failed to secure European football once overall since 1990, which is almost 3 decades ago now. And I think that, failure came under the David Moyes era. And then obviously, we got rid of Moyes, brought Van Gaal in, he, obviously we thought everything would have changed under Van Gaal, but obviously it didn't, he lasted like, a year and a half at the club. He got sacked, despite the fact that he won the FA Cup, and also too, then we got recommended Jose Mourinho in, and Jose Mourinho had a two and a half year tenure at Manchester United, so he's actually had the longest tenure with the football club since the Ferguson era. He obviously won the Europa League and the League Cup with Manchester United. So I did initially say we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking their managers, but I do believe the only reason my Man United are sticking with Solskjaer in this present time is because he was a club legend. He was a great long-serving player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. So in that aspect, the board are softening their stance on Solskjaer. So if this had been any other manager now in this position, then I think probably you could say Man United would have sacked him by now. But Solskjaer was under so much intense pressure anyway before the game against Liverpool, as you all know. But I'd say them last 4 games prior to the Bournemouth game, you could arguably say saved his managerial tenure at the football club. You got Gary Neville coming out as well, saying that it only takes another game for Man United to slip up, and then obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be back under intense pressure. But I did say, didn't I, in my reaction yesterday to the Bournemouth Man United game, it's going to be interesting to see, what Gary Neville and Roy Keane and Giggs, all how they react, to the 1-0 defeat against Bournemouth. I don't think any of them, will say, we should get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But yeah, we need to see a lot of changes at the football club. Yeah, we need to see a lot of changes at the football club and that. But yeah, I think we do need to get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. And anyway, there's been a variety of managers on our agenda, who could replace Solskjaer at the football club. Don't forget, I think quite a few weeks back now, I think it was also during the international break, there was a lot of speculation about Max Allegri coming to Manchester United. And I think it did say, we identified Max Allegri as our primary candidate, to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think it did say that, according to what reports mentioned anyway, that Max Allegri, was keen on taking the mantle on at Man United. He assured that he wanted to bring Emre Can and Mario Mandzukic with him in. He also wanted to recommend Patrice Evering as one of his coaching staff. But he actually, has got that managerial experience as Max Allegri. He doesn't really know much about English and that. This is why reportedly he'd been learning English in preparation for his potential move. Max Allegri obviously, recently managed Juventus. He stepped down as Juventus manager at the end of last season. He served around he had a 5-year tenure with Juventus did Max Allegri. Won the vast majority of his silverware there. Progressed Juventus to Champions League finals. But he's been managing now for around, is it 16 years or just over 16 years, because he began his managerial career in 2003. He did say quite a few weeks back now, though, that he was in discussions with Manchester United, regarding, what salary he would earn if he was, to be recommended in to the football club. So some Man United fans will have different perceptions on Max Allegri. Some believed he would be the right candidate. Maybe some believe, he wouldn't be the right candidate for the football club. And all that. But yeah, we will, currently say I haven't really read much up about Max Allegri, quite recently, but I do know at the moment that, he's managerless. But, take into account, after, the sacking of Jose Mourinho in December of last year, there was quite a few managers on our current agenda. And at the time, Mauricio Pochettino was our top priority. He was our top priority. Obviously there was a lot of talks about him, coming in. Obviously, there was also Zinedine Zidane on our current agenda. And there was a variety of other managers on our agenda, but Pochettino was the likely one. But obviously, our preference was Solsjaker, because obviously, we saw it as, Solsjaker knows the traditions of the football club. Also, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was a cheaper solution. We didn't really pay that much, to recommend him in to Manchester United. With Pochettino, though, I think he's a really, really good manager. I still believe, he's under pressure at Tottenham. There's actually now quite a few managers under pressure. Obviously you've got Unai Emery, who's under serious pressure at Arsenal. You've got Pochettino, who's under pressure at Tottenham. You've got obviously Solskjaer as well, that's under pressure at Man United. So who do you think's the next likely manager to be sacked? It actually could be Unai Emery. But I like Pochettino because he's good at developing young players. Obviously, he's well proven in that in the Premier League, and I credit him for what he's done for Tottenham. He's been there 5 years. He's now into his sixth season with Tottenham. He also progressed Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final last season. Obviously, before he was at Tottenham, though, he enjoyed a great short tenure with Southampton. He actually began his managerial career with Espanyol, did Pochettino. But my only element of concern I've got about Pochettino is that he hasn't won out in terms of silverware, and this is his expectations, Pochettino's, is to obviously win some silverware, which he hasn't done as a manager. And he has been managing now for just over a decade, because he began his managerial career in 2009. Did Pochettino. He has actually spent a substantial amount at Tottenham in the 4 or 5 years or so he's been there. Take that into account. But still, I think a lot of neutrals believe, a lot of Man United fans especially believe that he could be, the right candidate for Man United. More than likely, if we was to reignite our interest, which I don't think we will, we'd probably have to pay around 32 million in compensation to get him in anywhere, despite the fact that he doesn't have a release clause in his contract. Because Pochettino, I think he did last summer, signed a new 5-year contract worth around £8.5 million a year. Yeah. So, yeah, there's been a lot of managers on our current agenda. You could arguably say as well, Manchester United should have recommended a new director of footballing. I think that was a mistake by the football club. And I did actually say, that's one of the structural changes that we do need to see in the football club. Because during the summer, there was quite a few former Manchester United players linked with that director's role at the football club. There was quite a few. Like I said, I did say, if we was to recommend one in, sometime now or some point in the future, recommend someone who knows the traditions of the club, someone who's got that experience, and someone who would be reliable, to oversee our transfer business. And actually, there was a lot of speculation about Edwin van der Sar the other week about him possibly, making a return back to the football club. And I think, I do believe, he would be the right candidate for Manchester United. So you could arguably say, if we'd have got that director of footballing during the summer, then maybe in that aspect Solskjaer would have been back to more. So I think Solskjaer came out, was it during the international break, actually came out and defended the club's current structure. So he must be happy with the club's current structure, and he feels as though we don't need a director of football at Manchester United. This is what he probably does believe. this is what, he probably, does believe in that. But yeah, so there is a lot of players on our agenda, who, we could go in for next year. I think, probably in January, we'll look to sign one or two players. But I think, we'll do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer. But, if we do continue with this inconsistency, which is very, very likely, then anywhere it's going to be hard for us, to get the right calibre players to Manchester United next year. And obviously, as well, if you're not in Champions League football, that's another thing. It's going to be harder to attract players to the elite level. And obviously, we failed to qualify for the Champions League last season. But I think it's actually, very, very probable. This is some good news I want to give you an update on, like I have been doing recently. It's very, very probable that Manchester United will sign Mario Mandzukic in January. That's looking very, very likely now. That's going to happen. I was reading recent reports about him, and it did actually say that Juventus will demand around £4.5 million for him. So Man United could get him for just under £5 million. I think Juventus are looking for around 9 or 10 million, which is obviously still very, very cheap. You can say he's a cheap solution. Is Mario Mandzukic. He is a very, very good player. He will be a good, adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, he isn't a long-term replacement for Lukaku regarding his age, and that's the only element of concern I have got, obviously, regarding his age, because Mario Mandzukic is now 33 years of age. But obviously, since the recommendation of Maurizio Sarri, Mario Mandzukic, I don't think he's played a single minute under Maurizio Sarri's guidance. Don't forget we inquired about getting Mario Mandzukic towards the back end of the summer transfer window. He's never actually played in the Premier League yet, but I admire him because he's had a great career. He's now into his 5th season with Juventus, and I think he's scored 44 goals in 162 appearances in all competitions for Juventus. Obviously, Man United won't offer him a long-term contract. I think the club will be prepared to offer him around an 18-month contract. Yeah, so I think he will be our 4th signing overall under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, if Solskjaer is still to be here by January, which I do believe he should be. And obviously our first sign, we will make him in January, Yeah, but I think we'll definitely, get Mario Mandzukic. But at least, he can be more effective in the box than that, and he can assure Manchester United goals. Some people have actually urged us to not go for Mario Mandzukic, and some people believe, we should reignite our interest in, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Don't forget, we had Zlatan Ibrahimovic for a short period of time, delivered the goods for Manchester United. He scored in some imperative games and that. Don't forget, he scored in the EFL Cup final against Southampton, was it, when we beat them 3-2. And he scored quite a few good goals for Man United. A very agile player was Ibrahimovic. Had a really, really good career. But obviously, with that really, really bad injury, that he had sustained, was it a year or two? I think it was a couple of years ago now. That obviously, had a really bad effect on his Manchester United career and that. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I think how old is he now? Is he 34, 35? If I'm right. But I'd like Mario Mandzukic, to come into the football club. Obviously, there's been, a lot of talks, about Moussa Dembele from Lyon. I think he would be the right calibre player for Man United. He's a player that's very, very young. He is only 23 years of age. 23 years of age. He's an out-and-out number 9. I think, the beneficial thing, would be to recommend him in is that, he's, had experience of playing in the Premier League, because obviously, he was at Fulham when he was younger, and he actually, began his senior career with Fulham. He also had a good couple of years with Celtic, and now I think he's enjoyed a good time so far with Lyon. And I think if he came to Man United, he can replicate, what he's done with all them 3 teams. He is still under contract with Lyon until 2023. Lyon did pay around £20 million to him from Celtic last summer. And he's done, like I said, he's still got quite a few years left on his contract. But he's a player that can score goals. He can lead the lines well. So I probably, would like to see him, come to Manchester United. I think we did inquire about getting him in the summer. We was tentatively linked to him. What I mean in that aspect is that, he wasn't one of our main priority targets. We do know there was a lot of reports, from the media, earlier on this week. About Erling Haaland from Red Bull Salzburg. It says reportedly Man United are interested in him. I think the beneficial thing about recommending him him in that he's played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance during his short period with Mould. Obviously, maybe Solskjaer is keen on reuniting with a player, but I think from Napoli's perspective, they've confirmed that Manchester United are expected to sign Erling Haaland in January. Don't really know much about the player. I know that he's only 19 years of age. He is a striker, so he's another player on our current agenda. So yeah, we're probably expected to sign him in January. Napoli were in for him, but Napoli have now pulled out of the race. So yeah, there's quite a lot of strikers on our agenda. There has been more speculation now has come out regarding Declan Rice. Reportedly, Man United are willing to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for getting Declan Rice and that. I've updated you about Declan Rice on quite a few occasions. I think we inquired about getting Declan Rice during the course of the summer. But yeah, again, I think he will cost the club, a substantial amount of money, like I think, Moussa Dembele will. Declan Rice is only 20 years of age. He's also British, and he will fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly. Because Solskjaer, I still think he's keen on continuing the policy of recruiting young British players, like he did do during the summer. Declan Rice, 20 years of age, still got a lot of development in him. Initially, well Premier League proven. Initially learned his trade in the Premier League. Declan Rice is mainly a defensive midfielder predominantly, but can also operate as a centre back. He's also very tall, which is beneficial. But his tenacity is good. He can get forward well. He's good at breaking up the play. And I think he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United. He's been at West Ham now a number of years. Obviously, before he was at West Ham, he actually, was at Chelsea. He was actually in their youth academy, for around 7 or 8 years. But actually, I don't think he ever got into Chelsea's first team, and then obviously, just end up, going to West Ham. He's got a long-term contract with West Ham because he's under contract with them until 2024. So yeah, he's another player on our agenda. But we definitely, do need to add depth in that midfield. But it was a shame anyway that we didn't address all the problematic areas during the summer. But the good thing is that we did get that experienced centre half in. And we also got that right back in during the summer, which is also, a positive, and that. But, I've already, said to you that more incomings are needed next year, but we also need to focus more on the outgoings as well, because definitely more players do need to leave. Young, I think, needs to be moved on next year because, he's past his sell-by date at the football club. Young's been a long-serving player for Man United, now he's into his, ninth season, but he has enjoyed 8 years at Manchester United. He's now 34. I think he's 35 next year. He has played. He has played regularly this season. Probably mainly due to the injuries we've had at them. Full-back positions. We need to get rid of Jones. He's another problematic player. Jones is good enough to represent Man United. I think he's been here more or less the same amount of time as Ashley Young's been here, because Jones is now into his 9th season at Man United. He has, been here 8 years. And I think it was a mistake for Man United, last season, giving Phil Jones a new long-term contract. And obviously he's going to find it hard to play now anyway, because Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof are our first choice centre-backs. But he does actually get his opportunities in the Europa League and the cup games. He's compatible to Rojo in that aspect, because Rojo does get the chance in the Europa League and the cup games. I think probably Rojo is another player that does need to leave the football club. I think we should have actually got rid of Rojo and Jones during the summer, but it was a surprise solution. We didn't get rid of both players. Chris Smalling, he obviously went to Rome on loan for just under 3 million. But if I had to pick out Smalling and Jones, who I would rather have in my team, it would be Chris Smalling, because I think Smalling is actually a better player than Phil Jones. But despite Smalling's departure anyway, we have still got 6 centre-backs in the team. But yeah, Matic, like I mentioned, he's definitely another problematic player. So still more players do need to leave Manchester United, and that's without a shadow of a doubt. But like I do keep saying to you guys, we'll never ever, achieve of what we achieved under the Alex Ferguson era. Solskjaer definitely, can't invoke Ferguson's legacy to save him at Manchester United. And, this is it, that's something we've got to accept, because it was, Ferguson, didn't win out in his first 4 years, so obviously, he didn't settle in straight away. We recommended Alex Ferguson in 1984 from Aberdeen, and he didn't win out in his first 4 years. But look what he went and produced. He went and accomplished after that 4-year period. Obviously, he had 20 odd years of success. He won 38 trophies with a football club. We won the vast majority of our silverware, under Alex Ferguson's guidance, and he also controlled the transfer policies, and he controlled the contract. He bossed the transfer markets. He also, developed a lot of young players. But yeah, and I said I'm hopeful now that this team at this day and age can replicate what the team did under Ferguson. But obviously we know now that, we're not under the Ferguson era. We haven't been under the Ferguson era, for around 6 or 7 years we haven't been under the Ferguson era. Like I've mentioned, this is a different era now with different players and different groups that we are building. But yeah, Solskjaer, like I've said, he's not the right man for Manchester United. I think he also fears now the January transfer window to Solskjaer. He maybe thinks that we're not going to get the players that we want, due to our inconsistency. I still don't think Man United will get relegated, because I think the club's too big. I think there's too much money in that into the football club, for us to get relegated. We haven't been relegated since 1974. But some Man United fans fear Solskjaer could replicate what he did during his short tenure with Cardiff, because Solskjaer managed around 29 or 30 games for Cardiff. 29 or 30 games for Cardiff, but he actually ended up getting Cardiff relegated. But he just isn't good enough for Man United. And obviously at the moment City is strides ahead of us, Liverpool are strides ahead of us, and it's very, very imperative that we do catch up with them. But we've got to obviously try and get into that top 4, because obviously then if we do get that top 4, which I don't think will happen, but if we do, it'll create a platform. Obviously, it will, give us something to build on, then to, graduate higher. But, we're not going to do that. We are definitely not going to do that. I think we'll be lucky to finish in the top 6 this season, the way things are going. But, in that 4-game period, I definitely thought the comeback, was on, so it is a shame. But, yeah, I think we're 10th or 11th now, and it's confirmed we are 10 points behind the top 4. But, it's actually worse under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, than what it was under the Mourinho era. It's definitely worse than it was under Van Gaal, and it's even worse, than it was under David Moyes, because I think it did get revealed that Solskjaer's record after, his first, 28, 29 games, actually, worse than when it was under Jose Mourinho. It would be interesting now, if we could actually, try and recommend Alex Ferguson back, to see, how he would do at Manchester United. But obviously that's not going to happen because, Alex Ferguson is obviously now too old. So we know that's not obviously going to happen. But probably Solskjaer, won't be sacked yet. I still think we'll keep him at least until January. We may even keep him for we may even keep him, for the remainder of the season. But, what I saw towards the back end of last season is exactly now, what I'm seeing, so far this season with Man United. It's just an absolute embarrassment. And I think, I'm ashamed to be a Man United fan. I've actually been ashamed to be a Man United fan, for the last, 6 or 7 years, of how inconsistent we've been. Yeah. So nothing much really more to update you with, guys. That's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.